Friday the 25th of April, 1986.
How is the sound? Can you hear it well?
A beautiful spring day
Or
for the
you need
43,000
louder.
inhabitants of Pripyat in the Ukraine. A day that will remain forever engraved in
sound
their
now?
memory.
Good.
176 employees of Block 4 have been ordered to carry out a test on a self-fueling system of the reactor. Something that could save. While Pripyat sleeps peacefully, the floor of the plant begins to tremble. A ruthless battle that has gone unsung, which claimed thousands of unnamed and now almost forgotten heroes.
The Chernobyl disaster was a nuclear reactor accident that occurred in 1986. The reactor itself contained a faulty design and human errors. The result was a series of major faults that led to a steam explosion which spilled radioactivity throughout this area of the Ukraine. The Chernobyl disaster is considered the worst nuclear disaster in history in terms of both casualties and financial damage.
Recording, right? Okay. We're at the Chernobyl station, nuclear disaster station, about 35 years and 5 months back from here. It was a most dangerous place. But today, all of us are here to see this wonderful place and try to know what really happened. And this is the entrance. Then we have some shops around here. And then we'll tell you more about it later. Thank you very much.
This is a counter. Okay. So just say, can you bring it down to the loud? No, to the ground level?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I can put things on the ground.
Okay. Good. No variation. This is a very quite safe level.
After the explosion, radiation levels in the area were extremely high. And it was almost approximately equal to 5.6 roentgens per second. And the rate of 20,000 was well beyond a lethal dosage, and it killed several crew members immediately. It is estimated that more than 400 times more radioactive material was released from Chernobyl than the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined. It affected roughly 100,000 square kilometers of land. It reached large areas of Belarus, Ukraine, and Russia, while air and precipitation-borne radioactive particles were found in other areas of Europe, notably in Sweden.
These are some of the villages. You can just see it's totally devastated, and people have been compulsory by pressure. They're taken out from here in this village. You can just see some playgrounds, kids playing here, and all those things. You can just come here. You can see here. Now all those things have been no one stays here. It's nothing but a ghost house, a ghost city. Nobody lives here. And then you can just see all these buildings have fallen down. You can just show that.
These are the places your kids were playing. Now it has become totally disaster place. Okay, this is Ada from Chernobyl tour. She speaks wonderful English and highly knowledgeable, and then we are very happy with her. Okay, I'm going to review for you. Just show me that. What is that you have in that?
So this is a Geiger counter, and now shows the level of gamma here on this territory. Sanitary level for Ukraine is 0.30, so here the level is twice lower than sanitary level for Ukraine.
And it's
For example, on the board of a plane, instead of the 0, you can have 3, 4, 5, and even 6, depending on heights.
Okay.
So the
The
levels
safe.
here are absolutely safe.
Thank you very much.
And here on entrance of this house will be Chibrashka toy. Chibrashka was famous cartoon character, like Mickey Mouse in Western
okay.
countries, but it was small creature, brown color with big ears and without a
Oh, yeah,
tail.
okay.
Kind of mixture of monkey and teddy bear, unknown creature.
Once again, what is it?
Cheburashka, like Che Guevara, but Cheburashka.
Just hold. Just hold this.
Now this is in this village. Most of them were evacuated because of this radiation. This famous house is called a Chibrashka. It's a famous Ukrainian character, like similar to Mickey Mouse. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah. It's wonderful. You can just see people have left their materials and just they are asked to vacate this place. In fact, they were all farmers. They were very happy here. They were not knowing what's happening, but because of the radiation level, they are compelled to go out from here. Now it has become a ghost city. What once upon a time was very happy farmers' village. Now it's nobody's there. Thank you very much.
Understand. This is the first village called Zailisia.
Oh my God, Chibrashka. All left and gone. Now it's becoming.
I can see thousands of acres of land has become a red forest. Due to the radiation, all these trees lost their life. What a damage to the nature by human error at Chernobyl.
Radar was more interesting. It had to send signal close to the North Pole. They started to build it in early 70s. In the end of
This is the low frequency radar. You can just see the antenna size. It is very low frequency radar. This was the concept they used Russians to protect their nuclear station. You can see these antennas built with the big rods and a lot of gas. So the very idea was that is it possible to use they used the ionosphere as a reflector. That was really a great science those days. Their idea was to take care if anybody is watching this. This entire station is just, you can show it's full of jungle. It was built in a totally jungle so that nobody could make out what is happening here. So that was the idea of these Russians to build this Chernobyl nuclear station. Thank you.
Signal like this. Towards the Eurosphere, that was reflecting back to the planet, then reflecting back to the Hemisphere, then reflecting back again. So each hoop was around 3,000 kilometers, so 9,000-10,000 kilometers. Each hoop was enough to reach territory of United States. How can see a missile? Let's imagine we have missile here. How missile is looking like? We have warhead and we have tail with fuel. While missile is starting, it burns a lot of fuel and it leaves hot trace of gases in the atmosphere and also in the ionosphere. And when the signal reaches this hot trace, not missile itself, but the hot trace, it comes back with some changes in the computer, like transformation of the signal. Then from this corridor, signal was going to command center, this huge 3-floor building, when the computer was proceeding it and telling you simple answer, yes or no, 1 or 0. Was the launch of missile or not?
See, this is a massive antenna. It is a radar antenna being built by Russians to monitor the Americans so that they should not know what's happening in the nuclear station.
You can just see those dipoles so big because these are all used very low frequencies radars. If you just come over here, you can just see the entire jungle. This station was built in an entire jungle so that nobody should know what's happening here. That was the idea of these Russians. They brought these ideas, brought up this station in Ukraine. You can just see, somehow they want to see that nobody should know this, particularly Americans, and they counter their invasion. These are the radars were built. You can just see, because of the radiation, all this, it has damaged the ecosystem. You can just see all burn out like anything. You can just see here, okay, everything is burned out because of the radiation. It's not only troubled the humans, also the ecosystem. You can just see, oh, totally burnt everything. Only because of the radiation. She's checking the threshold. What is the level here? Very close to radar. What is this location?
So
I can just measure it.
it's just recalculating once again because I made the threshold higher to avoid it beeping all the time.
Okay,
so
let's see.
mine's
Okay, how much is?
0.17.
It's quite
Still-
safe. Quite safe.
Yeah.
Quite safe. And then she is Ida, and then our tour director, and then is really very knowledgeable in all respect. And she was explaining about the radar also very nicely. Thank you very much. Now we are reached to a place called Kapochi. We have to really measure the radiation level. They are all called hot spots. Let us see exactly what is the level we are going to see now.
It's average level here, it's normal. But if I'm moving my counter, for example, to the soil, wait a bit, it takes time to calculate. It will go higher. 6 already. 7, 8, 8.5. Almost 9, yeah, 9. So see, hotspots, they're very local. Don't put it on the soil, because you have chance to pick up particles on it. Don't put it in the soil, keep small distance. Actually, no one knows exactly why the hotspot appeared here, but some people say they seen drivers which coming from that side towards the checkpoint, and they were shaking out rubber carpet which they put under there. Yeah, we're going there, and there in daytime they have day net. It was not an orphanage, but in kindergarten they have day net. We are sleeping. That evening birds come here and they come from their children. That's why.
When the explosion has taken place, a lot of radioactive materials have been flown out of the nuclear reactor and then fallen into different parts of this place. These are the hot spots where the radioactive material is still active, and so that we can go close by and then measure. And these are been already done, and then so that safety level has been taken care so that we can see this hot spots region.
Comes out as steam, as water they collected below in a kind of pull, and they drop back to the cooling cycle. So they have the same, but this big gray building, it's not a storage itself, it's just a repackaged, will be stored here for more 100 years. You can see a train, they use this special train to carry fuel rods from the old storage to the new one. This facility was blue.
This is one of the cooling tower which used to cool down the hot water and for circulating back into the reactor.
Unit number 3 under the rusty roof and unit number 4 under the arch. This long quiet building along all the power plant is turbine hall. For each unit, 2 turbines. In total, 8 turbines here. To your left, gray building, this is administration building. All administration, HR, services, they are here. And exactly here in the basement of this building was crisis center where people were working at night, 26th of April, trying to gather information and understand what's going on, what they can do here. It's close to one of the cinemas. Now it's here because it was made of bronze and liquidators wanted to protect it from looters. That's why now it's staying here in the memorial complex dedicated to official to produce nitrogen, storages, wet, dry, different type of people.
This is reactor number 4, which is now covered by a sarcophagus which is constructed out of composite steel and concrete in order to contain the radioactive material and the remnants of the reactor.
The arch here was, instead of the 0.3, if you come closer, 4. So now it's even lower than on board of a plane. Everything became possible thanks to liquidators. They did really great job here. Levels here were million times higher than you can measure it now. They cut 5 meters of soil here around. All this soil around is new soil. So who are asking how they can operate other 3 units after the accident, it was an ideological moment that 30 thrown out like from the cannon. It was on the unit number 3 and I had to clean it somehow because I told you about the floor, otherwise all your house will be in that small white jobs. It was the hardest work here, project shelter, but the hardest work was here and people came there with spades. They had simple protection made themselves from lead for body, head, reproductive system, and they had very short shifts. 1 minute, 2 minutes, just run, throw a few pieces, then run away. It was all the work they had to do. They were called bio-robots. We have robots, we have this one. With nickname sarcophagus. Steel and concrete unique structure, it was built with violating some building norms, but in this case there was no other option because time and distance only way how you can protect your people, and these people they cannot work there like normally. They had to work very shortly and they had to do as much work as possible because they cannot build it during years. They needed to cover it during months. For us was the condition they had to shut unit number 3 to receive money, otherwise Ukraine it's your problem. That's why, following international agreement, we shut unit number 3 without any emergency cases. It can be operational for more years. It was December 2000, by our president, was shut.
These are all the nameplates put in remembrance of those people who sacrificed their life during this disaster. This is the radiation monitoring gate. Before entering the lab, we have to pass through this, and which measures our value, and within the limit, then it allows inside to go into. This is the city in 1970, Pripyat. Was so beautiful. Now let us see how it has been devastated. Again, this is the red forest, which has been, due to radiation, the trees have been dead.
At 3:25 gathering here, and while exploring the building,
This exposure to this radiation had a terrible impact on the human lives. Especially those who were exposed were found to be suffering from skin cancer, throat cancer, cataract and albinism. And also it had a terrible impact on the children, those who were born. They were found to have some birth defects. Added to this, the flora, fauna and the wildlife too had a terrible impact because of this radiation.
The Pripyat city was so beautiful before the disaster. Now you can see this is a swimming pool, totally nobody is using, and then nobody is coming here, and really now it's becoming waste, and nobody will return here for another 20,000 years. This is the basketball court, everything gone, destroyed.
it was by people.
Why was it?
Because
this was a school building. You can see so many thousands of nuclear mask used for this protection has been thrown. You can just imagine thousands of people have died due to this radiation. This is an open-air theatre.
everything. It was kind of paradise, and people who came here, they felt that they're chosen ones. They're special ones, they're best of the best. And it was big luck to come here. Because normally in Scythian, if you want to
Even after 35 years of the disaster, the area around the plant is still unsafe to visit except for brief periods. It is estimated that the area surrounding the reactor will remain uninhabitable for about 20,000 years.
use some hot spots, and I accumulated 2 during all the day. Remember, it was 2. Come closer, I will show you the spot. Let's measure somewhere here. 10.
Oh my God.
And now I'm moving my counter to the hottest place and wait a bit, it takes time to calculate. 83, 83, 88, 87 type of the product. And they had something to put under it. They had not empty shelves or their metal trolleys.
So many apples. Nobody wants to eat because of the fear of radiation.
Hockey stick in his hand, he's a dosimetrist. They were going to the most dangerous places to measure the level of Pripyat to finish their job because they had specific kind of mentality. Who will do that if not me? They believe that they did something important. They were ready to sacrifice their health and even their lives just because they believe they will protect other people.
Now you understand better why this town was kind of a pearl. Okay, take your final pictures and there is our bus.